I'm so guilty of this.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Tea Time Thoughts, the channel where we discuss thoughts and drink tea.
I got it to work. So let's talk about phrases that bosses should never say to their employees. Let's go. Person X is doing better. So, as an employer, and those of you who have said this to your employees, why? Why would you say this? I'm very curious, actually, why you would say this to your employees. Person X is doing better. Yeah, okay. And? Like, where does that go? In terms of a conversation, where does that go? It goes nowhere. You've just shamed them, and you've done nothing else. Nothing, bestie. Love this one. Bring me solutions. Not problems. I mean, yes, ideally, if you're gonna complain, you should have a solution in mind. But if they're struggling to come up with a solution, then it would stand to reason that you would probably be better with helping them find that solution. Why are you not helping them find that solution? I mean, it just sounds like you're foisting your entire workload on them. You're all responsible for coming up with solutions. And oftentimes, employees are responsible for identifying problems, but the whole team is responsible for finding a solution. So why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you helping them do that? It's your job to help them do that. You're not doing your job. I don't have any feedback for you. You don't? You don't have any feedback for your employee. None whatsoever. You have none? Have you not been paying attention? Your job is to monitor your employees, their performance, how comfortable they feel in the work environment. Are you telling me you've got nothing? Nothing? No? Okay. Are you qualified to do your job? You don't need to know why. Just execute. Okay, this is said a lot in the workplace, but we do need to know why. Because the way that we do things, the way that we execute, the way that we produce whatever it is that you want, is highly determined by the reason we're doing it. So for example, if you ask me to run some statistical analysis on some data, how I interpret that data is hugely related to why I'm interpreting that data. I know it sounds complicated, it's really not. I tend to take the reason for interpreting that data into account. So think about it this way. Let's say I'm handed a ton of medical data. Can you find people that have this particular gene? Yeah, I can do that. You don't have to tell me why, I can find that. But if you want me to do a really good job, tell me what that gene is responsible for, and I can probably find anomalies that you have not even thought about. And I don't know, user experience. So let's say you tell someone, I want you to build me a web page. Awesome, tell me what's on that web page. And they give you the stuff on the web page, and you say, fine, what are these users trying to do? Can you imagine, you webbies out there, a program manager saying to you, you don't need to know why. Why is so important in STEM. I don't know if the person writing this came from a STEM background, but I would imagine it's equally applicable within the arts. We always need to know why. We're delivering for people. We need to know what our people want. Otherwise, how can we give you what you want? Don't worry, I just love the work you've done. I'll do it myself. I will do that myself. Don't worry, I'll just do it myself. I'll do it myself. I'm so guilty of this. I'm so guilty of this. For any of you watching who have dealt with this part of my personality before, it's not you. It's totally me. I'm so sorry. If anyone says this to you, it's not because you can't do it. It's because they're just complete control freaks and they just want to do it themselves. If someone says they want to do your job for you, let them take note of it, get paid to do less. And then when someone calls you on it, just haul up all the notes you've taken, make sure you get everything in writing, and just say, look, they told me they're gonna do it. That's how you fight people like me. And I admit I am like that. And I'm not like that because I don't trust you. We all have our own ways of being a bitch, and that's mine. Be a bit controlly sometimes, and I'm very sorry. Very sorry. I'm ashamed. Because I'm the boss. Because I'm the mommy. That's why. You don't do this with kids, and you sure as hell don't do this with employees. If your boss does this, they're toxic. Because I said so is not a reason to do anything. Because I said so was a huge driver behind horrific incidences like the Holocaust. Because I'm the boss, because I said so, that's a toxic work environment. Do not allow that to happen to you. Yeah, I'm loving this. This is the most fun I've ever had. Let's go. Why did you do it that way? So, I have a story. I have a little anecdote before I jump into why this is toxic. So, there was this job I had a couple of years ago, like early in the pandy. I had this coworker who was kind of a frenemy. And I didn't realize she was a frenemy because I don't get the whole concept of frenemies. Like, if I'm your friend, I'm your friend. There's no toxicity there. I value friendship. I've talked about this before. Once you're my friend, you're my friend. Unless you do something to destroy it, you and I are friends. Forever. BFFs. So I had this frenemy at work, and she really at first did kind of come off as a really good friend. And then as soon as we became like super friendly, she started pulling this. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Can you explain it better? And who knows, maybe she was serious. Maybe she didn't understand. But I did notice something about her. There was a very different tone of voice that she would use when she legitimately didn't understand something. She'd be like, okay, hold on, let's rewind. I don't quite understand everything you're saying. I'm not hearing exactly what you're saying. You're not explaining this in a way that I can understand. No problem. I got water today because this is a marathon. But there was this other tone of voice that I started noticing with our bestie here. Let me give you an example. So she was talking about something one day, and I don't exactly remember what it was, but let's just craft a scenario. She was talking about, let's say, building a house. I'm not an architect, but let's just say I am. That's what I wanted to be when I was a kid, and my parents talked me out of it because it doesn't make a lot of money. So she's talking about the foundation of a house. Like, hey, we need to pour the concrete in this very specific way, and we need to build the foundation in this very specific way. And so I responded with, okay, I think we should use this concrete based on what you just said. And her response was, what do you mean this? What are you talking about? I don't understand what this means. I had no other way to respond. I said, this meaning the stuff you just said? Well, I need to know specifically what you're referring to, because this is sort of ambiguous. Like, you know what I'm talking about? These people that pretend to be confused because they want to make you look bad. I don't understand how pretending to be confused makes the other person look bad. To me, that's like drinking poison, expecting someone you don't like to die. Good job. I'm confused about this one, and I have different thoughts, and I'm thirsty. Good job. I guess the only thing I would say about this, because I think good job is okay. I do. I've said this to my employees. I've had people say this to me. Typically, this is said when somebody meets a deadline doing something that they have been hired to do. Good job. You're meeting expectations. This is a meeting expectations kind of phrase. Good job. I think you should say this to people. It increases their morale. It makes them want to work harder. Absolutely, you should say this. But let's say someone goes above and beyond, is able to learn new tools, learn new skills, get stuff done despite the fact that they have no idea what they're doing when they start and they still meet deadline. Good job is offensive. You need to do more with less. So offensive because employees right now, they're so strapped. They're strapped for money because they're not getting paid as much. And there's inflation, so they're broke. Transportation is harder because the price of fuel for their vehicles has gone fucking sky high. We are doing more with less. Yeah. The people that tend to say this are people that have never had to do more with less. They just want to keep stripping their employees of anything and demanding more and more. Their employees are already doing more with less. And look, I agree. Use as few resources as possible to maximize your output. I get that. I do. That's why I own a vegetable garden. That's your problem. Nobody has ever had the audacity to say that to me. If you're responsible for me, if you're my manager, and my productivity reflects on your productivity, it's your problem too. Even if it doesn't reflect on your manager, they're your manager. Managers aren't there to harass and douche. They're there to help you. They're there to guide you. They're supposed to be mentors. If you're a pack leader, your job is to lead. It's not to stand there and be lazy and go, what's your problem? No, it's not. It's everybody's problem. If there's a problem in a company, it has to be solved. So if it's your problem, it's everyone's problem, and everyone should help you if you need help. That is how a successful business is run, bestie. It's not your problem, it's everyone's problem. And if you can't solve it, if it's been assigned to you, fine. It's your problem initially. But if you find that you can't solve it for whatever reason, it's the job of your manager, your team, everyone around you. I don't care, the CEO, to come together and form a cohesive unit that solves this problem. I realize a lot of businesses have multiple problems that they have to solve, but this is why we structure companies into teams and departments, because that lowers the number of collective problems that have to be solved by a group of people at one time. So if you're having a problem, go to your team, and if they look back at you and say, oh, that's your problem, get another job. Do not work in that environment. It's not collaborative, and therefore it's not productive, and therefore eventually they're going to go out of business. Don't take this the wrong way. But, so let's start with the word but. But is a really socially acceptable way of saying everything I just said to you, erase it, forget it. Because now I'm going to tell you what I actually think. I'm just going to stick this stuff before but. Don't take this the wrong way so that I don't look so bad when I tell you what I'm actually feeling. If you have a criticism, this is not the opener you want to use. Do not use this opener if you have a criticism. One of my huge pet peeves is when people explain how they're going to talk before they actually talk. I admire directness. I would rather somebody come up to me and say, you know what? I saw this. I don't like it. I don't like the way it runs. I think your math was weird. You forgot to carry the one. Fine. Okay. I'm fine with that. That's okay. Don't tell me not to take it the wrong way. There is no wrong way to take an error. Also, again, I kind of feel like this kind of statement tends to preface something a little rude. I'm not racist, but, I'm not sexist, but if you have to blanket statement that's not a criticism. You're being a dick. I've never heard this one. Maybe I have heard this. I've never taken it seriously because it's ridiculous. Hold on. Let me get my face right. Are you questioning my authority? Yes, always. You all should be doing that all the time. I'm not saying that you should disrespect authority. That's a case-by-case basis. If the authority you're dealing with is behaving in a rational, thoughtful, intelligent way, and they have your best interests at heart, and they have society's best interests at heart, you can probably trust that authority, but authority alone is not a reason to not be questioned. If a boss asked me this question, I would immediately question their authority. Oh, this is new. Our boss is a moron. Oh, don't do this. Just don't do this. If you manage a staff, and I have myself before, do not do this. Do not say this. Do not even suggest this. Again, this is not a questioning authority thing, and I realize the last one kind of contradicts this. We should be able to complain about work. This is a rank thing. Your employees that work for you, as much as you hate this, and I'm going to tell you this right now, they reserve the right to complain about you. They do, and they're not going to tell you. And unless they have a legitimate grievance, they shouldn't. Unless they want to, right? This is their right. They can complain about you. Fair or not, I would hope if it's fair, they would come to me and tell me, but they don't have to. Just complain at your level and upward. Never complain downward. Never involve your employees in your grievances, because it's not fair. You're pulling them into a potential issue that you have with your employer that they may not even have, and now they're involved. They're in the bloodstream. Don't put your employees in that position. Now, if they complain about your boss, you take it through the correct channels and you deal with it that way. Yeah, we don't bitch about our bosses with our employees. I'm very disappointed in you. Isn't it giving angry mom though? It's giving angry mom. I've said that to my 7-year-old. I'm very disappointed in you. And here's why. That's something you say to a child, not a subordinate. If you're saying this to your subordinates, stop it. You could say something like, so here's the pattern of behavior I've noticed. I want to understand what's going on. If there's something going on, tell me about it, because maybe I can help. This pattern of behavior, as it's currently unfolding, is not really working for us. So let's work together to find a better solution. That's how you say I'm disappointed in you professionally. It's not my fault. So this one's confusing also. I have never had an employer even remotely utter this phrase to me. Even if it's not their fault, they don't say that. If you have hired and trained an employee that can't do the job or messes up on the job, then either A, you didn't hire the right person, or B, you didn't train them properly, or C, they asked for help and they didn't get help. Understand and take responsibility for the fact that this is your employee. It is partially your fault, and that's okay. You guys can work together to create a better future. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this. I really enjoyed this. If you haven't subscribed and you like this content, please subscribe. Also, ring the bell so that whenever I put new content out, you're the first person to know about it. Thank you so much to my new subscribers for joining the family. You guys are fantastic. I have very few subscribers right now, but we're growing a little bit more every day, and you guys are the bedrock of my channel, and I love you. Tschüss.